They have been started just now. So I'm going to start off with myself and a story about keywords. That's the best way to actually study things. I grew up in what I like to call the deep south of Virginia. It's the bottom, and it's in the woods. There's nobody around. There's nothing going on. And most of my family worked in either a trade, which is carpentry, or plumbing, or electrician, or they worked. I said product, but I meant service. The product side, they worked on oystering, crabbing, clamming, and they were fishermen. Lots and lots of fishermen, because that's where the Chesapeake Bay actually meets a ton of different rivers, and there's all kinds of fish. And if you know about the Merlin blue crab, you know how famous that is, even worldwide. It's they use that as the go-to thing around here, and down there, the lobster is the illustrious thing that kind of weird and doesn't exist and is really expensive. So when they actually procured this product, or they had that service, they had to find their customer. When I talk to people about actually getting in front of their target audience, I tell them that you have to find your audience. You have to go out there, find out what medium they are in, and then just lay in front of them. And laying in front of them is actually by using your keywords. These keywords are targeted for a customer and not just to anybody. You can't just write lawyer, I'm here, and Newton. There is a keyword in it, but that's pretty broad. Most people are certain types of lawyers. Maybe you're a real estate lawyer, maybe you work on different properties, maybe it's commercial, maybe it's residential, and there's things like that you want to do. But back to my story about the fishing, when they did that, the best place to go was where everybody was. And when you're in the middle of nowhere, there's only one place that actually occurs, and that's on the highway. And when I say that, it's kind of like the thing we used to talk about back in the 90s, called the internet superhighway. It's the same thing. It's a bunch of people going down a stream looking for things to do. And these people are doing different things, and they're looking for different things. Maybe they're going to church, maybe they're going to work, maybe they're going to school, maybe they're going to a party, maybe they're going fishing. And then you are on the side, and you're putting out your keywords to attract them. For the trades, they put out those little yard sale signs that says, hey, I am an electrician, I'm certified, call this number. That's what you want to do with your website. But you need to focus on who is in your target market and who is ready to buy, who is closer, who is warmer. And for the product side, I talk about crabs, because that's a really big thing. If you see here in the picture, there's keywords all over the screen. One of them is live crabs, because live crabs, you can cook them yourself, or you can use them for bait. And when I go by, I want to see words like peeler crab or soft shell crab, because one, you can cook them, they're delicious. They can provide that actual product, or you can cut them up and fish with them yourself. And there's also things like jumbo, because people want the biggest crab possible, and that isn't always available. So these are the types of keywords that you should think about when you're doing your own business. Each business is very different, and it all starts off with keyword research, which is the basis for pretty much all online marketing. When it comes to print marketing, it's a little different. That's a little bit of that's a lot more on the copywriting side, because you want to compel somebody to actually take an action. You're not trying to get them on from the web and get the algorithm and the people to both do the same thing and give you the result of them coming to you rather than somebody else, a competitor. That's pretty much that story. For those of you who don't understand what a keyword is, and you've already heard me babble about my story, a keyword is just a word or a phrase or a sentence that. Hi.
Dwight?
Yes. Hi.
Good.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Glad you
Hey,
want to join
Brian.
me.
Hi, Brian. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
I've already started the presentation. But I'll pause it for a second if you want to just slow down and introduce
Sure.
yourself. And then from a photo shoot.
So, yeah, I'm Clark Linehan. I'm a commercial photographer. I've been using AdWords for quite a while, but
Okay.
you can always learn to do better.
Yes.
And I made the mistake of letting Google play with mine at one point, kind of destroy it.
No. That's
Yeah.
I did read about that one line about Google making decisions about how chooses its keywords for you. 'Cause it's probably skewed on the broad side, isn't it?
Honestly, I don't remember the specifics of that. I just know that I went from having a highly functional system that AdWords campaign that went from bringing me some work virtually every week to being totally ineffectual and costing me a lot of money.
Yes, there have been there are certain ways you can set up your advertisements to be beneficial for you and to also not steal money from you when you let Google take over and they
Right.
decide what's good for you because they don't know about your business.
Was that like a checkbox you had to tick off? That
No, I actually got a phone call from them
Uh-huh.
offering to help me go through some settings, which because they're doing it 24/7, they run through stuff faster than I could absorb what they were telling me to change. So in essence, what I ended up doing is going in and eventually just deleting everything I had done up to that date and redoing it from scratch.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just shut it down and totally for about a month.
Yeah.
And then went back and scrapped it and started over again.
Interesting.
Great, that's a smart thing to do is start over and actually reevaluate what's going on before you let yourself bleed out.
It gets very expensive very fast if you.
How does the fee structure work?
He'll tell you that, I'm sure.
Well, today I want to focus on keywords, but there is a way that they do their fee structure, and it's if you look into the AdWords campaigns, you'll see that there's different ways to do the keywords. That isn't my actual expertise. I don't know about that the best. I'm more an SEO.
Oh, okay.
SEO person.
I mean, I can kind of hit that.
But sure, I
We
can
can
talk
talk about it over a beer.
Yeah, that sounds even better.
Yes.
Yeah, let's let you do your thing and.
Sure, I'll run through my stuff and we can do more collaboration. I don't have to talk the whole time. I wrote something, so I do if nobody else wants to contribute, but if you have something to say, I'm more than happy to hear it. We're just into the keywords part. What are keywords? There's the single words, lawyer. I'm just pulling on you since you talk about lawyer. I have another niche, which is called fishingnetwork.com, where I help 9 to 5 employees with families find time to go fishing. And I started off by just doing YouTubes. I did 90 in a row because I wanted to hit the YouTube algorithm to let them know that I'm a player in the game and I'm here for the long haul. A lot of websites and any social media or Facebook or YouTube, people go on and off. And as soon as you stop that upward trend of making content, because that's what they want, the more you do that, the more they can depend on you providing better and better content. That's what's going to happen naturally when you do something over and over again. So I did that, and now it's been growing steadily. There's a lot of people in Boston who want to know what I do. And I was doing lives, and they're like, "Hey, you're fishing." I'm like, I always saw people fishing like on TV, and like, why would I like watching fishing, but I didn't think anybody else would just sit there and watch somebody do something. But I know there's like esports. People watch other people play games. So people do that with me, like, "Hey, what's going today? Where are they at?" And I even worked with the Charles River Watershed Association in the Massachusetts Division of Fisheries and Wildlife. There's a current fish kill, the gizzard shad and some other fish locally that has to do with them not being native. And I reported on that, pictures, video. They really appreciate it and actually added me to the website in my publication. So that helps out with link building. So I wasn't actually going after that, but it just happens. That's what happens when you put yourself out there. So if anybody's not doing any type of media, video, or which is like YouTube mostly, audio through a podcast, iTunes, there's some others, SoundCloud, or working on their blog or the text actually providing information about your business, you with photography, you with a lawyer, and you with you have websites and you do some marketing as well, showing people that you give value, and you can do that through any of those mediums. Everybody has something they're usually better at. I was pretty good at video, and I did not believe that until I finished my Harvard class in C, which I did, and I had to present my project, and I was like, this is pretty cool. So that's just something aside, nothing to do with keywords. Oh, if you're wondering why I'm down here, I forgot my wire. I couldn't go to the TV, which I asked for. Yes, types of keywords. This is an important thing to think about. There's basic keywords that pretty much mean nothing, like fishing, or you're a lawyer, or I'm a marketer, and that's what you're trying to rank on. If you've looked on Google, it shows you that there's millions of people searching for that. Obviously, you're not going to rank, no matter how much work you do. So you have to focus on getting focus on your target audience and getting a more detailed keyword that's more toward what they're looking for. Because you want to, as I said before, you weren't here, you want to lay in for your customer. Find out where they are. Are they on Google? Are they on YouTube? Are they on Facebook? Wherever they are, and use the correct keywords to find them, and then just put yourself out there. Boom, they will trip, they'll find you, and then they'll stop for a second, because everybody only spends a couple seconds figuring out if you can give them what they want or not, and then they move on. And Google watches all that stuff. So if you don't do it correctly the first time, you're gonna start seeing yourself slip in the rankings. So it's really good that you do your on-page and off-page SEO correctly, and then do all of your AdWords campaigns and everything else on the side that's secondary. Yes. Another keyword that's important is buying intent keywords. And those are ones where the leads are actually warmer. They're looking to purchase something. They're looking for the best thing, or top 10, or what's now, or cheap, or review. And you've seen sites that actually have these words in them in the URL, because they're trying to trigger Google to think that that's what they do, so they can get just that customer. But that's only a small piece, and obviously Google is smart, so they figure it out. So if you have it there, it only gives you a little bit of play. You have to hit all the points: the title, the description, the headers, and the text, and the links, and there's other ways to structure your actual content to make Google think better of it. And I don't want to go through that today, but basically, if you look at the top 10 to 12 sites and you see how they're doing things specifically with their title and with their description is the metadata, and that's what shows on Google, and that's what's going to pull people to actually click from Google and go to your site. And that requires not just the keyword, but also good copywriting to get them to click and get them to move. And once they get to your site, that's when you want to look at the other top 10 and see how they're laying out their pages. They have headers to H1, 2, 3, and 4. If you know about that, you know about that. And they also have a certain amount of links. They have the keyword in there a certain amount of times. They have the links. They have bold and italics listed a certain amount of times, and it's also a certain amount of words. And previously, people thought, "Hey, I'll just build more words, like a skyscraper content, the best in the world," which is what you should always try to achieve. But that doesn't always mean that you need to make 10,000 words just to be better than somebody else. You just need to provide the best amount of information and however many words it takes. So there is a little bit of a fight with that. But it's already been shown that there are some sites out there with good layout, and they have lorem ipsum on the page, and they're ranking in the top 10 for a piece of content that gets over 1,000 visitors a month. And it's like an oddity. It's like something Google hasn't really caught on to.
Literally, lorem ipsum?
Literally. I didn't provide that, but I'll
Isn't
find
there a
it.
bookstore down the street from here?
No, it's Philotext. It's Philotext.
No.
Oh,
It's Greek.
there's
It's
a
Latin
bookstore
Philotext.
down the street called Lorem Ipsum.
Yeah.
It's
this tiny
Latin,
little-
and whenever they're filling out like a new website or something,
Yeah.
before they write anything, they just fill it with lorem ipsum text to see how it looks.
Oh,
Just a bunch
okay.
of Latin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
InDesign actually has something
Okay.
built into it that if you know that you've got a certain text block and you want to fill it with some text just as a placeholder,
Yeah.
there's a thing that will just fill it with
Oh,
this
okay. I think I
Latin
know.
text.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So,
There are some oddities there beyond all the good things that you can do for your website. And that is the one oddity I've seen. That was
reading
just
the
like
content of a website than that. That's
They-
unbelievable.
They're always
Yeah.
trying to catch up to the latest thing, and there are still tricks. Google is not perfect. They want to make you think they are,
What is
but they aren't.
Do you know what the appeal is of just putting lorem ipsum all over your website? Is it just to make it look, so you have to scroll down longer, makes it look like you have more content, or? I
The
can't.
reason anybody would do it, or this actual person?
Anybody, or, you know, or this particular person, I mean, it doesn't make sense to me that, number
There-
one, it would entice somebody
No.
to read your content.
No.
I think it would be a negative.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
I would
it
think.
is a negative, and there's
Well,
no.
it's just apparently Google judging your
Yeah.
website by the amount of
Where?
text.
Google says, he speaks Latin, I'm gonna rank you up.
Yeah, it's reality, but there is the structure of the content was built perfectly to its competitors.
Yeah.
And all the same
Interesting.
ranking factors, and it actually ranked. It wasn't first. It was like it was number 8, I believe, which is still ridiculous for it being there. That's
Yeah.
usually what you fill it in before you make it go live.
Yeah, that's
You're
nuts.
just looking at it, and
Right.
somebody did it, and it worked for them for one keyword. So, did I do something?
No, I think it just didn't come back after you
Crashed.
canceled your phone call. There you are.
Right, yeah, so why you need to focus. First, you want to get in front of your target audience, which is very important, because if you're focusing on the wrong people, you're getting traffic, which is cool, but they aren't people that are looking for your content. And when they see that you aren't giving them the value that they want, whether it's close or not, they'll leave, but that's called a bounce back. And you get too many of those, Google will see that as a negative factor. So you want to avoid that as much as possible. Plus, if you get targeted, your target audience, you focus more on them, you won't have to build content for everybody. You can keep it really concise and work on a single blog or a single page or a single keyword and make that the best possible content you can. And you can also do link building to it as well. If you look at a lot of marketing places, there's two really sides of the coin. One, they say, make as much content as possible, and then do some basic SEO, and you'll start ranking. You'll hit different keywords, and you'll get traffic, which is true because if you're going after low-hanging fruit, which is something that's really easy to rank for, and most people aren't going after it. But I believe the better way to go about it is to find a high-quality targeted keywords that aren't at the top. They're somewhere in the middle. They're a couple thousand per month, and then making the best piece of content possible that you can. You're constantly improving it. You're constantly doing link building, which is getting votes of confidence from other websites. You can do that there's different ways to do that. One way is getting a guest post or having Web 2.0s, which is from sites like Swedo or WordPress that you can make or somebody else makes, or you can get a influencer or somebody else like Charles River Watershed Association. You provide value to them and they provide value to you by making a link. You don't have control of what that link is when they do that, but if you do a guest post, you do have control. And for that, I'm not sure why I'm going off on that, but if you do, you want to stay more toward a naked link or the link of the title of your actual web page. Because if you focus too much on your keyword and you're making your own links, like if you say Boston photography, and you make 400 links on a different guest posts across the United States to that, and they're all pointing to your site, Google's gonna think, are you trying to manipulate me? There isn't like a fine line. This is non-manipulation and this is, but if you just do a couple of those every so often and focus more the 80-20 rule on just the naked link, which is the www. whatever, and the title of your website or your profession is, that will be a better way of doing it. So 80-20 seems to work for most people when it comes to actually getting link building with a keyword. So the keywords you have to have discretion when you do that, because that's sliding onto what people call gray hat. And you don't want to be there because you never know when Google will slap you. Right now,
What do you mean by gray hat?
gray hat is when you're doing things that will manipulate the algorithm that Google has created. One of those things is making, one of the big things in the past, which is still people still use it, is public blog networks. They'll make a site, they'll constantly upgrade it, they'll make good content, and they'll get ranked because they bought an expired domain, which has a domain authority, a domain rank. that's really high because it was been around for a while and that person retired and they just dropped the site, they didn't sell it to somebody and it's sitting there waiting for somebody to purchase. So they purchase it and Google thinks, oh, I trust this site, it's been around forever. Great content, never did anything wrong.
different.
They go in there, they add content, they freshen it up, put it towards some kind of demographic or customer like photography or a lawyer, and then they put a link to themselves with the keyword. And that keyword has a ton of power. And it goes to the website, and then their website gets that juice and goes up. And they keep doing that over and over again and make a blog network that powers their site. It could be for them, it could be for their customers. And I think this was back in the, it was mid-2000s. I'm not sure, you might even know this answer, but at some point they saw that people were using this heavily and they just wiped them completely off the face of Google, erased. They're making tons of money, they're making people happy, but they're doing it the wrong way, and Google said, no, that's not good. You're manipulating the customer, you're not giving the customer the best piece of quality content that they can, you're just giving them what you want instead of the right thing, and they just erased you.
So what does Google consider the right thing?
The right thing is what the actual audience believes is the right thing. That's why they watch different metric points. There's a lot, and they don't even tell you about all of them because they don't want you to.
That's why this bounce rate is so important.
So people are guessing and doing tests, A/B tests all the time to see, is this good, is this bad? So you watch what the customer does. Do they stay on the page a long time? Do they interact with something? Do they click a link? Do they go further into your site, or do they go in and just go out?
So you don't know for sure. And I have another question for you. You know, talking about keywords here, it seems like all of this is geared towards Google. What about other platforms, like if people are using Twitter or if people are using Snapchat or whatever? Do these same keyword algorithm type things apply in those instances as well?
They're different. Each company has their own algorithm that they make. They're not exactly the same. Many of them do use a similar construct to Google because they've done it so well. They're constantly updating, so you know what to catch when something happens, but it isn't the same. But the general thing is that you can't say, oh, this is the best thing for Snapchat. There's tools that I'll talk about later, which are pushed more toward Google and Bing and Yahoo, the search engines, but not to the social media. They have a search algorithm, and there's YouTube that has a separate algorithm than Google, and then there's the web, mobile that has a different search than desktop. So the actual search you do on your phone is completely different than the one on desktop. I don't know if you've seen that. Search for the same thing, you might get a different list of stuff.
And most people are using phones now.
Yes, over 60%.
Yeah, but it's like my results are very heavily skewed to a computer.
Yeah,
I
right.
can
For
actually
your
see what
area,
the
that
source
would make
was when I
sense.
look at them.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, as far as all the various social media outlets are, you need to look at the social media thing that most reaches the people you want to reach.
Yes.
That's like, I don't use Twitter very much. I tend to use Instagram because it's obviously a more image-related platform with, again, appropriate hashtags, keywords. So that if somebody's looking for industrial photography, they can search hashtag industrial photo, whatever. In your case, you might want to post a tweet about some, legal case that was just settled, or a legal concept, or a Supreme Court, whatever, whatever type of law you do, because you're almost in the same boat as me. You're in a market where people are looking for a very specific niche.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so you want to be able to define yourself,
Yes.
because you don't want a whole ton of generalized hits,
No.
because that's going to hurt you. If you
That's
get somebody
what
that's
lawyers
looking
do.
for
Most of
family
that
law,
time.
Yes.
and they go to your website and it's about corporate law, they're immediately going to leave, which is going to raise your bounce rate, which is not a good thing for your Google ranking.
Yes, and that's the whole thing about, I said, you need to find where your target audience is and get in front of them. It may not be the highway, it may be
Right.
some other town, but you have to, that's the first part, doing the research to find out where your customers normally are. because I've looked for phishing. There's nobody, there's no men per se on Pinterest. But I'm there.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
mostly female, like
Right.
85%
Yeah.
of the study.
That's true.
But I'm on there, but
Yeah.
it's not
It's
happening.
probably like 2% men.
But on
I
Instagram,
would
it's
guess,
huge.
you know, because
Yes.
I use it occasionally.
I actually didn't know it until I started. I was like, I should check this out. And I read it, I was like, oh, I was total waste of time for the fishing to be there. But it looks cool, and I have a link. So things can change. But you have to know where to put your time.
I would think that fly tying would be something you could find on Pinterest. Just saying.
Much for that. I'm starting to get into fly fishing.
Mhm.
I've talked to some people up north that actually teach it, and I actually know a lady that said she would teach me. So I don't want to hook myself in this. I think we went through most of this. But yeah, most everything.
Yeah.
We were pulling stuff in here. And this is this cool little thing. Content is king, and I talked earlier about the quality.
Do you find
and
that
quantity
people
thing.
still doing keyword clouds? Is that
Maybe.
kind of doing, I mean, it used to be that you would see, you know, in the bottom of a corner, you would see keyword clouds. You know, like whatever was the big, you know, lawyer, you know, would be,
Yeah.
in her cloud would be huge. And then maybe, you know, things that other people found her under would be smaller and smaller and smaller, depending upon how many hits she got on her website based on what that keyword was. And it was a real big thing for a while. And this is where you kind of get into because when you talk about black hat techniques, one of the techniques used to be that if you had a big area of white, you could put whatever you wanted in white text. And it was
Oh.
invisible.
Yeah.
So one big thing for a lot of photographers became, they listed out the names of all their competitors. So that if somebody was searching for that photographer,
In white
they'd,
text?
they'd still get to
Great
his
idea.
wobsite.
Yeah,
But that was one of the things
Obvious,
that
but
Google
it
caught
is-
on
That's
with.
Google
caught on.
And they killed you for it.
That's an
Yeah.
oldie right there. I remember
Yeah.
that one. there are tons of tricks that people have tried, and they're still trying. Don't get me wrong. They are trying the best they can to skirt the system, and in the end, they're just going to ruin themselves. If you're running a long-term business, then you should not try to fake things, because eventually somebody's gonna catch on. There'll be
Oh man, unless you got a
somebody will tell.
Unless you got a full-time SEO person that's doing nothing but looking at what's happening to all your.
I'm subject to other ethical
Yes.
canons too, so,
Okay.
you know, there's, and there are some pretty strict rules about advertising.
I know, yeah.
I
in
think the
Massachusetts,
lawyers,
so,
lawyers in healthcare are really
Sure.
strict with that, I believe.
yeah, you gotta be careful.
Yeah.
I mean, my purposes are different anyway.
Oh, this is actually this is a little quick. Can't see. I wish I had TV, but this is a piece of my website. I have a web page here called "What Color Worms for Bass," and I'm ranked number 8 right now. I wrote that about 3 months ago, and the only thing I did was on-page SEO, and I did it correctly, and I was able to reach number 8 with just that. No link building at all, and no telling anybody, which is pretty nice. But the really cool thing is on the next slide, I'm actually ranking for another keyword. In the past, people thought that you need to make a different web page for every single keyword, but Google really thrives on something called relevance. They're looking at a keyword and looking at your site and seeing what you should be relevant for. So when you make a web page about a keyword, there are many other keywords you're going to be actually ranking for, depending on how relevant you are. And this is something you need to think decently about when you're making your content and you're thinking about the keywords that you want to push on. Right here, this is, I don't even have this keyword. I looked. It's nowhere written in that text at all. No links, not in the description or title or in the body as well. But yet, I'm ranked number 12, which is just past the second page, which is one of the easiest things to do. And if you do your keyword research, which is a lot of work, we can look at the Google Search Console and see where you're ranking for keywords for your page. And if you see something that's on the second page, that is the easiest thing to move to the first page, which is where 80% of traffic actually goes. After that, you're pretty much, you're not alive. Nobody clicks that second page unless they absolutely have to. And if they do, Google knows that the first 10 didn't provide value. So you actually, you hurt them as well. which will help you if you are on the second page. So if you see a keyword that you don't have actually on your webpage and you're ranking for it and it's really close like this, the best thing to do is to put that keyword in your content. You can really put it anywhere you want to. I would suggest in the title and then somewhere in the actual body of content, like a header tag or a link, if you can do that. And that will re-trigger Google to look at your site. They'll see the keyword. You'll have better relevance because you actually wrote it this time. It's not just a relevant keyword. And you'll start ranking higher for that. And you'll get the visitors that were going to that because now you're on the first page. You can do this with other keywords as well. But I thought it was really cool to show that because I found that a couple weeks ago. And I was like, oh, you know, I can use that.
What was the phrase that got you there?
What color worms for bass? That was the main one.
Yeah, and what was the secondary one that was?
And the secondary one is
pardon the pun, fluke.
Sorry. The most popular plastic worm color.
Huh.
So obviously they're relevant. They're talking about mostly the same thing.
Yep.
There were people that were probably ranking for it. Maybe they didn't write it down, or they weren't. It wasn't their main thing. So there was really nobody trying to get it. Actually has 300 visitors a month for that keyword that I wasn't going for, and now I'm getting ranked for it because I have more relevance than everybody else. And now I'm gonna focus on it. And you can either, I said you can add it to that webpage, but an even cooler thing to do is to make a webpage for that, and then link the two. Because interlinking, did I talk about that? That's the next page. Interlinking is very important because I like to think of your website as not just like a cobweb of things interlinked. It's actually a hierarchy structure, more or less a pyramid, which I don't like mentioning pyramids, because that starts talking about MLM and all those things. People hate pyramid schemes. But basically that's what your website is. It's a hierarchy structure, and you want everything to link up from your low-hanging fruit to your skyscraper content, the best in the world, all the way up to your key pages, your about, and your top level navigation, and then that goes to the homepage. And the juice that you get from doing well and ranking at the bottom funnels up. That's the same thing when people kind of fake it with the public blog networks, private, did I say public? The PBNs that funnel their juice, their Google ranking power to you. You can do the same thing internally to your site, and Google is actually giving more value to that than it was the people that did Black Hat stuff, because they want people to do more of this, because it's easier for the Google spider, which goes to your site, to see everything and re-update. And we were talking about where do we use all these things. This is where you use keywords. I found this on Pixabay. This is where you can get pretty pictures. So your web page, which is basically done through on-page SEO, there's link building, which is off-page SEO, advertisements, which you've been using to Facebook or Google or sure what.
Just AdWords.
Okay, and the social media. There's Google My Business. You are all business owners. I truly hope you have actually signed up for your Google My Business page. You don't have a website, so you probably don't know. This is very important.
I've been fine, for many years without it, but.
Yes, everybody's fine.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to do better.
Yeah, in some ways, I just wanted to narrow down some of my traffic too. I don't know,
Okay.
so I'm not wasting time, and my people are not wasting time.
Yes, calls that.
And it's just, it's necessary. So anyway.
Okay.
But
Even before you get a website, you have a name, address, and a phone number. It's called a NAP. And when people search for your business or your trade or whatever you provide, they're going to see a list. You've probably seen it. It has a map and 3 businesses
Right.
below it. That's called a map pack.
yes.
And it's highly based on having your Google My Business listing set up, which is basically just some pictures of your business, maybe it's inside or outside. I would suggest you make them high quality because people, obviously you've seen them. And then having your name, address, and phone number listed on Google My Business.
They have incorrect information about me that
Yes.
I didn't put out there,
Well,
obviously.
They-
so-
you can just go in and claim the
You
business.
can, there's a button on that, when
Yeah.
you look for yourself, you'll see your business name and it
Oh,
says,
okay.
do you own this business? And you just click on it. And it's really easy, it takes like 10 minutes.
No kidding.
It's so
Excuse
easy.
me, I don't mean to be rude, but I just read this tag and I don't
Okay.
make sure it's not anything
Okay.
terribly important.
Cars being towed.
But yes,
Yeah, that I wouldn't know. I'll go out there and my car will be gone.
I've been talking about another thing to
Sorry.
suggest as well. You might know this. They actually, if you don't have a website, some people don't care about websites. Google has the Google Sites. If you go in through your Google My Business, you can sign up for that site and they make it for you. I'm not sure how good it is. Plus it's on their domain server and don't have real control. So I don't suggest it, but it's there. And then you
So
can do
does
it
that
later.
mean you don't own it yourself or you can't change it or?
You can change it. You don't own the domain. So if you want to go somewhere else, or you don't like the way it looks, you want to go get a graphics designer to change something, it's not going to work out. They have one of those click and drag kind of things. It's extremely simple, but it's there. But for the most part, I wouldn't use it. But that's what I would do for you. You can do that as soon as you get back to your place. Just find yourself and then sign up.
Claim it and update it.
Yes.
Might be better than nothing.
And once you get to your website, make sure that your name, address, and phone number is on every single page of your website. That's also a key indicator that they look for as well.
Make sure it's not built into a graphic. It drives me nuts.
The best way to do your keyword research is by yourself. I use brainstorming or a fishbone chart. Funny how that is. I like fishbones. That's a way to, it's actually a cloud of information and all the things that your business does. And I had like 8 different things I was focusing on when I wrote my webpage. I talked about the skills for fishing, I talked about fishing gear, I talked about boating, I talked about marinas, I talked about the mindset for fishing. People talk about some weird things. There's some keywords that you wouldn't believe. But I took that and I pulled that data and I used it in a lot of free and non-free places to get even better information. And one of the free places, I'll just get to those, is Google Autocomplete. It'll show you what people are searching for. If you looked and wrote in a letter, A, B, C, you'll see things pop up. And the reason they pop up is because people are actually searching for them. And the smaller those words are, you can bet there's a lot more traffic going to it. It's more important. And you can dig down and you'll see more and more of it. It's a ridiculous amount, but this is the easiest way and the cheapest way to do your keyword research. It should pretty much start here. You can spend years doing it, but I would go with the brainstorming and then move to this if you don't want to do a paid service. Also, there's the Keywords Everywhere, which is a Chrome plugin. And what it does is you put in a search word, it'll tell you immediately how much traffic that word is getting. And then on the side, you'll see a list of relevant keywords to that first one, and it'll show you other keywords that are relevant, i.e. near the same, like synonyms, to that one, and the amount of traffic that they provide. Then there'll be a suggested area as well, which has a few more things. It doesn't show you too many things. I'd say about 30 in total that are relevant and suggested that you should look into to that, but it's totally free. You can find it online. The search Keywords Everywhere. You'll see the Chrome plugin download. It takes a second, and then it's permanently on your Chrome browser. Also, there's a weird one called Answer Public. I don't know if anybody's heard of that. It does a lot of LSI, latent search. I don't know the exact name, but it pulls in that information. It scrapes tons of websites, and it gives you back relevant keywords to that one, and it displays it as a big circle, and it shows the words pointing out from the main keyword. And it also shows you words, sentences that are similar, and many different things that you probably don't want to go down. But it will show you things that you didn't think were relevant, or you didn't even think about going down like a whole different other rabbit hole, like talking about kayak bass fishing. Like that's a big thing, but I didn't really realize that. And we found somebody locally that does it, and he actually writes publications for On the Water magazine. I was like, Dude, like that's all you do? You just fish for kayak,
Do you
sharks.
use these tools to like research the keywords and you find, whatever you find, and then do you use whatever you find to like develop your content?
Yes, I do
Post or-
do one more. I do two more actual things. One of them is put into one of the paid system, which is Ahrefs.
Okay.
That's the best one.
Yep.
It's very detailed. It goes down all the pipe holes with ads. It does link building. It does competition analysis. Everything. And Keyword Finder is a little easier because it tells you how easy it is to rank for something because it looks at the competition.
Can you send the slides out?
Huh?
Can you send the slides out?
Yes, this will be on YouTube on
Okay.
the website. I'll send you the slides. I'll provide those. And I actually pre-recorded this yesterday, so you might hear something I said last night I didn't say today. So I'd watch all the things if you have the time. But if you have any questions, please you can contact me. I got off track there. What was that I was gonna-
No, because there's a couple of these I've never heard of, and that's
Oh.
why I.
Yes. Also, there's the Google.
Keyword planner?
Yes.
Yeah.
The keyword planner. I look through that, and for me, when I'm doing my fishing website, I want to know if people are actually really interested. So I put it through there, and I only look at the ones which people are paying ads for, because there's competition, which means there's a lot of traffic for people to fight for. So I should focus on those first. And there's a lot of them. If you do your brainstorm big enough, you'll find endless amounts of content that you can write. And I focus on the ones that have competition, i.e. AdWords dollars that are over 50 cents. That's what I do. And I pull those in and I use Google Sheets and etc. Google Drive for like everything. It's fantastic. Everything's on the cloud and it saves automatically. And I also put it into Ahrefs because I want to see how easy or hard it is based on my site. It's good to know your domain rank if you have a site, because you don't want to be going, if you're a 10, you're going after something that's ranked like a 40, like level 40 of domain ranks are pulling this or higher, you're gonna have a hard time ranking for it in a long battle, which you should go for in the long term. But if you're looking for some quick hits, then that's just not gonna do it. So it's easier, like I said, that pyramid, to start with the low-hanging fruit and move up, or just make the best piece of content possible and work really hard with your link building and doing your own page and off-page SEO.
Have you ever used Moz?
For a short period of time. People are, I was off and on it, and some of the people, they didn't really like their algorithm for doing things, but it works.
Yeah.
But you have, when you go to each one of these options, you have to look at them singularly. They all have different algorithms, and they can be completely different from themselves. There's a 1 to 10 level of difficulty from each one of these, and you'll see one will say, oh, it's a 20, and the other will say it's a 35, and this will say it's a 19, and you're like, what the heck? What's going on? Why are they different? But whoever you start with, you should end with. Don't switch, because you'll become confused and your data will be skewed. You wanna start off with an easy one, like a 5 or a 10. You'll see how long it takes. You calculate that data, you write it down, and then you can move to the next one knowing how long and how much work it'll take from there. But if you switch, well, they switch their algorithm up, which they do sometimes, they try to make it better. Keyword Finder did that recently. And you'll become confused and wondering if you're doing the right things, and you'll get off track. You have to stay focused when you're working toward your goal. Because once you move off the shiny object syndrome, you don't get anywhere. You're working too wide when you should go down one path. There's something. I was hoping this would be bigger. I know I couldn't forget all this stuff. I talked about starting with the low-hanging fruit. It's very easy. I talked a little bit about the interlinking your structure, the pyramid. Push up your link juice to make your keywords more powerful over time by starting from the bottom and pushing your harder competition keywords and web pages up, and which will ultimately make your site go up, which Google will see, and then it'll put power into you from the other direction as well. I think I mentioned a little bit about don't being overwhelmed with keyword variations. because you'll see like Boston charter fishing, and then charter fishing Boston. They're a little bit different. One's 200, 2,000 per month, and one's 3,000. Which one do I write for the keyword webpage? You're like spending, oh my God. I'll do the one that has more initially, and the relevance will take care of the rest. You know, it shows both because people actually look at both of them, but because of relevance, it doesn't matter. So don't worry about that too much when you see it in the keyword results, because you'll see double play everywhere, and it doesn't really matter. It recognizes synonyms for relevance. We talked about that, and we talked about that already too. This is Ahrefs. I thought you might take a look at it to see how complicated they've made things. They have a whole section on backlinks, which is the votes of confidence that you get to come to your website from other people, so that you garner yourself through your hard work. There's organic keywords, looking at what you're ranking for currently, what you might want to rank for, what your competition is ranking for. That's one of the easiest ways you can actually see results. Like, I have a competitor, he's beating me, he's number 1, I'm number 5. I don't know why people are looking at him because I'm so much better. So what do I need to do to make myself better than him? A competition analysis will tell you exactly how many links they have. Maybe they have 1,000 and you have 3. You see there's a gap there, so you have something to work on. Also, they're working on these keywords that you didn't know about that are in the target audience, and you have these a couple of them, or you're completely way off looking at things that aren't important, and you're like, oh, obviously he's attracting the right person, and they're converting. And I think I wrote this earlier. Conversions are very important to Google. I'll talk about that in just a second. This is Keyword Finder. This is the easier one. They have a little coloring coding system.
Is this a paid one too?
Yes. They were free to play for a while, and then they just shut it off. They gave you about 10 searches a day. And I was like, oh, this is fantastic. I only need a couple of things a day to work on until I can try it out before I do it. And they're like, no, we're too good. You're gonna pay now. But it's like $30, while Ahrefs is $100 a month because they have all that other stuff. But basically, if you have a new site, it's somewhere between 10 and 15. You don't want to go over 40. I said 10, that's safe. 15, you're pushing it. That's like a hard measurement to make. But these are pretty much in line with your domain rank. If this is a 40, you would be best to go for that if you had a 30. But it's still possible if you were a 20. It will just take more time.
So this is how many keywords you want to try to use in the text of your first page?
Yes, you would write in a keyword. It would show you how hard it is to do it, and then it would show you relevant ones that are similar that you may haven't thought about and that you might want to rank for as well. And it'll show you how hard it is to rank for them. So it's good for that. And on the right side, it'll show you who, if you click on it, it'll show you who is currently ranking for it in the top 10. You can click the next button to go through the next pages. You can see their domain rank. You can see other things they're ranking for in case you want to compete with them. That's their version of competition analysis. It's not as good as Ahrefs, but it is possible to do it. It's just harder to get it done. But this one's way cheaper, so maybe you'll think about doing that a little bit of extra work. But it's all there, and I like the color coding, and you can see all the basic data that you need, and you can move forward with just that. And to the important stuff, how will this help you? First, you'll get exponential traffic by ranking higher, by using the right keywords. You'll get more leads if you're looking for more leads, and then you can do the really hard work of closing and making sure that they become hopefully good customers. And then you will actually increase your authority. And improving your authority with Google is exactly what they want. They're looking for authority websites, and you do this by providing high quality content, having many votes of confidence, and also by constantly improving your sites. Big places like ESPN, CNN, Forbes, Entrepreneur Magazine, and pretty much anybody else you can think. Healthcare, all the big lawyers, pretty much anybody is constantly making more and better content. They're putting themselves out there, not just on Google, but different formats. They're doing Pinterest, they're doing Instagram, they're doing LinkedIn blog content. They're on YouTube, on video, they're on the podcast, and they're putting themselves everywhere because that's where everybody is. And then they target, and then they pull out the people that they want from all those different places and send them to their sites. They might go to YouTube first, and there's a link in the YouTube description that says, oh, go to our site. I get people that way too, and they'll come to what site? They'll come to my site, and oh, cool, this is all awesome. We just wanted to see you fish in Boston, but we went to fishingatwork.com and went to your website. Oh, I can fish at work? Great, I'll get the 10-step process. You go fishing at work PDF, they'll learn more about me, and then they'll do that, they'll be happy, and then I'll have a better repertoire with them, and then they get to more people. That's one of the simple steps from somewhere else to your website to a happy customer. Also, I just said the conversions on Google are extremely important. It's a very high ranking feature. I'd say it's in the top 3. But basically you have impressions, which is how many times people see you, and there's clicks. And if you divide impressions by clicks, you get your click-through rate, which is also called CTR. And if you have a higher CTR than a person who's ranked above you for a keyword, almost every time you will hop above them. That is one of the things they want to see. They want to see that people go to you more than them. However they do that through different ways, doesn't matter, but if they see that top ranking factor, if you can convert better, that's why not just keywords is important on the metadata, which is the title and description, which you see on Google, but also how you do your writing, i.e. copywriting, getting people to take an action. And you know, many people are online like selling, the guy who sells OxyClean, he says it verbally, he has you all hyped up, you're ready to go, this is perfect, and then he gives you the back end, oh, but wait, there's more, here's some more free stuff, take action now. Things like that are great, but you can also do in text, you can do it in sound, you can do it in video. It's all possible. You'll also be able to communicate with your audience better if you're able to target the right customer. If you're talking to the wrong person, they're going to give you feedback that you aren't giving them what they want. You don't know if it's because they're the right customer and they don't like what you have, or if they're the wrong customer and they don't like what you have because they just gave you some form of feedback that's bad. You're like, okay, did I do the wrong thing, or is this the wrong person? So if you're able to target the right people, you know that the feedback you're getting will be good. So when you make a change, you'll go up with your conversions and with closing rather than going down. I think I'm running out of time. Oh yeah, I need to cut this really quick. You'll be able to use this on other marketing techniques if you do your keyword research and use it better, i.e. with AdWords and other things. And you'll also be able to quantify the results that people are getting if you hire an SEO or any other type of person to do marketing for you. You can use these tools, you can use your knowledge that you gain. And if somebody tells you, oh, we're ranking for this keyword, it's #1 now, awesome, we're awesome, that's cool. You're like, okay, we're ranking for that keyword, but it gets like 50 people a month. Like, why are we going for that? And they're like, oh, well, it's people, it's cool, but if you know that, if you know like what the keywords that you want to go for, how many people they're getting per month, you can look through all this data and make sure they're pulling the right kind of keywords and that they're actually getting results for you rather than talking trash. So that's very important. A lot of people in businesses don't do that. They just take people's words, which is nice that people trust, but you have to do your due diligence when you're working with anybody that you don't know. So everybody that's out there is trying to get the know, like, and trust factor with people. They first get to know you, and then once they've worked with you for a while, they begin to like you, and then hopefully they begin to trust you when you give enough value. And that's when good things happen. That's when they become a sale, you're able to close them, and you can move forward with your business. But if you don't get that know, like, and trust, it's very unlikely that you'll make a sale or you move forward in your business. So, I believe that's the end of my presentation. If you have any feedback, I am happy to take it. Or if you have any questions, you can go to my website. I have my cards here. You can write an email to me, or there's my phone number to the business. You can call me or leave a voicemail. Also, you can go to my website. If you looked last week, it's completely different now. My web designer did a stand-up job, and it is ready now, and it's live. Though I forgot, I didn't yet put the Calendly program on there, which is a scheduling program with the calendar, and you pick a time to talk to me. So if you click on that, it will go nowhere. I think
What do
it goes to
you
Google.
use for that? What do you use for that, for calendaring? I'm just curious.
I was going to use Calendly.com.
Oh, okay. Yep.
It's easy to use, plug and play,
Yeah.
and it works. So that's what I'm going to use. And going about what else I use, I also use Thrive themes on WordPress.
Oh, okay.
You've heard of that?
Well, I'm not a WordPress user.
Oh,
I
okay.
code by hand.
Okay.
I think you have a lot more control. I mean, when you're
Yes,
mentioning
yes,
something
you
about, header tags and all that stuff, and unless you know what a header tag is and you're using WordPress, you may be shooting yourself in the foot because you make text that looks big and bold, but it's not an H1 tag.
Yes.
So Google doesn't look at it the
Yes.
right way.
If you have a good conversion-based theme, which is iTunes, it shows you right there when
Yeah,
you
yeah.
click on it exactly what it is. And
That's
it's
cool.
also WordPress itself is really built for SEO
Mm.
and getting found and inspired by Google,
Yeah.
which is why over 30% of the websites online use WordPress. So I jumped on the bandwagon. I started building sites myself from scratch.
WordPress.
Oh no, I don't care. There's plenty of others, Wix or whatever else.
Yeah.
I haven't used most of them, and I used to code by hand, but it took so much time, so hard, and I'm a perfectionist, and that's a problem because it means nothing's ever done. So, yes. So I'm gonna end the meeting now. It's actually time to go over there, but there's no appointments. You can just walk in. It's 21 plus now. I left the last 15 minutes, which I used accidentally, for networking. You can talk to each other. You have things that are in common. Maybe you need something. Maybe he needs something. Maybe you want to talk about yourself or anything else. Or if you have questions, sure. This is it. Hopefully you can check the car and nothing is different about it. She parked in
Well, I might get a ticket, but
she parked in a permanent only spot.
Oh.
that's
So
all I
there's no
could find.
parking.
I was coming up Route 3 from Hanover, so I figured, well, the easy thing for me was to get on the T in Braintree and just ride in from there, because I don't think it would have made it otherwise.
I actually made it in pretty fast tonight, I was surprised.
Just in case you want to have a website.
Yeah, oh, I definitely have to do a website. I'm planning on doing it.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
whether or not you want to, work with me, but now that we've met, maybe you have some ideas and you want to chit chat, that's fine too.
Yeah, definitely. As soon as an email on there.
And Clint is here. I'm sure.
I grabbed one of yours.
Okay.
That looks kind of like the black hole that came out yesterday.
Yeah. Except much more
Different
colorful and
colors.
sharper.
Yeah. Yeah, a little closer.
Yeah.